I will assume that you've read the passage. What is the author's purpose in mentioning the Rembrandt portrait? Let's reread that bit. Some critics give themselves the pleasure of painting what has been called a Rembrandt portrait, with noon on the forehead and night at the heart. Another class argues from a rotten morality to a rotten intelligence. So some people think that Francis Bacon was, I guess, partially good and partially bad, and the other one says that he's just terrible. So the Rembrandt portrait is kind of an image to say, hey, some people have a balanced perspective, I guess. So we want something like that. A, to compare science and philosophy to the visual arts. No, this is really about different portrayals of Francis Bacon. B, to suggest that Bacon's scientific methods were flawed. No. C, to contrast Bacon's motivations and intellectual expertise. So we did have this contrast. That's possible. We're after a contrast, noon on the forehead, night at the heart. D, to imply that Bacon's heart never caught up to his mind. I guess that's possible. E, to emphasize how florid and elaborate most praise of Bacon is. No, that's not it. So to decide between C and D, we have to choose the contrast between his motivations and his intellect, and then to imply that Bacon's heart never caught up to his mind. Ultimately, we do actually have his motivations and how he really loved humanity, tried hard to serve it, but then his intellect alone proved unequal to that mighty task. So really, the first two paragraphs really kind of illustrate the difference between where his heart was and where his intellect was. So choice C is much better borne out by the rest of the passage.